Hello, folks. If you can see and hear me, if you would be so kind as to put a message in the chat, just say hello real quick. Miss Clara is here. Welcome. Thank you. I'm glad that you can see and hear me, Clara. I hope you're doing well. Oh, good. Yay. I'm going to get started here in just 1 minute. Claire, if you've got a piece of paper and a pen handy, you might want to take some notes. We will get going. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to Unlocking Freedom and Creativity. If I am new to you, my name is Susie DeVille, and I am the founder and CEO of the Innovation and Creativity Institute. And I help entrepreneurs and visionary leaders connect with their creativity, home in on who they truly are, and unlock entrepreneurial potential. And I am so excited to be back in the US and be with you all today and share with you this crazy, fabulous experience that I've had over the last 4 months. And the very surprising things that I have learned as a result of this time away, and how you can actually just take advantage of this interesting set of principles that I have learned, and how you can completely wrap it into your own life. And a spoiler alert, it does not require 4 months in Europe. It can be something you can do from your own desk, or your own studio, or your own living room chair. So I'm excited to dish all of this with you, and I encourage you to put any questions that you have in the chat all along, and I will be watching and trying to keep an eye on the chat, and I answer any questions that you have as we go along. If I happen to miss something that you have asked, please put it in the chat again at the end, and I will double check and make sure I haven't missed anything. So again, welcome, and I'm so excited to share with you this 4 month journey that began in Paris. Then I went to Nice, and then London, and then Bologna, and then Bellagio. And I had sort of set this intention to have a longer experience away, because I wanted to run an experiment, not only in terms of my creativity, but I also wanted to see how this shifted my perception by being immersed in different cultures for an extended period of time. I wanted to completely reset my body after a very intense period of work around the launch of my book, Buoyant, by the way. Shameless plug. And I was really wanting to um, just sort of separate myself from an old routine, from old ways of thinking and doing things, and just kind of put the electric prods up to my soul and into my mind, and just reset everything. And wanted to pick up some new language skills as well, and just sort of detach from sort of one way of being and enter into a new way of being. So let me pop back. I'm going to put the document camera back on. I want to show you this mind map and take you through it, because I want to just go through this series of benefits that you get when you're traveling. And I know all of you know these things and have experienced these things yourself. But as I was doing this mind map earlier today, it's always interesting to kind of go through this process and remind ourselves of all of the different things that you can experience when you're traveling. So, of course, we see with new eyes when we are traveling. We have the benefit of going on this flaneuring adventure, which is a term in French, which means loosely to get lost on purpose. This is the life of not having a very strict itinerary, and you can have certain things scheduled, of course, but to very loosely set your itinerary so that you can discover all kinds of surprising things and bump into little places that are hidden, that aren't touristy, that aren't well traveled, that happen to many times become sort of the highlights of your trip. Of course, we're immersed in beauty and art and nature, all kinds of incredible design and architecture when we're traveling. We have an opportunity to do lots of movement and, of course, lots of walking. This can really just jumpstart your brain, and it's also incredibly meditative. We're out of our regular routine, and this helps sort of point out to us what our clear contrasts are that reveal what it is that we truly love. We have an opportunity to hear ourselves think. We can reset our central nervous system. We can enjoy deep healing. We can experience an entirely new vibration. We can open up a lot more white space in our day to sort of unburden ourselves from a lot of obligations and responsibilities and enjoy a lot more idleness. We can begin to break old habits and create new ones. We can enjoy this delicious state of discovery, new neural pathways. We can have much more of an exploring mindset rather than what I call my clipboard Susie version of myself, which is much more controlling, much more um, schedule oriented and logistics driven. We can enjoy a lot more courage and confidence, connection to our intuition, idea flow, more synchronicity, make a new brain, which I have thoroughly enjoyed my new brain, and much more clarity around our goals, vision, and paths forward. So, these benefits come to us oftentimes. It can be a weekend away, as short as 2 days in a new environment. Does not have to be a long experience away. Although I do advocate if you're going to travel a long distance, it's wonderful to give yourself enough time to sort of leave your old self behind, peel away your sort of old habits and rituals, and get over jet lag and really sort of get acclimated to your new environment and give yourself enough time to do that. But these benefits you can enjoy very simply. You can do a camping trip over a weekend. You don't have to travel a long distance for a long period of time. But here's what's really interesting and was very surprising to me. Because I was overseas for so long, I was able to, and I was staying in places for long periods of time. So I had 8 weeks in France, 4 in Italy, and 4 in London. So I am now in a foreign environment, in new cultures and new situations. So I had the benefit of these benefits of travel. But on the other hand, I also was there for a long period of time. And so I started to get the routine of going to the grocery store and running errands. And of course, I was working with clients and doing workshops and hosting VIP days. So there was a sort of regular life component as well. So I was straddling both worlds. And around the 6-week mark in France, I discovered something that was so simple and so powerful. I was just kind of astounded. And I have been in the entrepreneurial world for 3 decades. I've been studying innovation and creativity for nearly 2 decades. I wrote a book about this, and yet it was just like, I can't believe I did not figure this out sooner. But I discovered that I could enjoy the same benefits of travel, all the things that I just went over on this mind map, by making a tweak to my daily and weekly creative practice. And that is what I want to share with you today, because as much as I encourage everyone to travel and to go on adventures, and whether they're short or long or near or far, I want to give you this as an opportunity to have the same benefits from your comfiest chair in your home and in your fuzzy slippers if you so choose. So it's a combination of a daily art practice, and don't freak out, because every time I say art practice, people think, "Oh my gosh, well now I'm out. I don't have an art practice. I'm not an artist. I don't know how to do anything that resembles art, and this is a world that's not for me." Please know that is all a bunch of cultural lies that we're taught and told, and that we unfortunately many times believe. It is a world for you, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to access it. It just requires a commitment and a decision and a few materials, and you're off and running. So I want to explain first your daily practice. And I want you to just begin with 10 minutes. You don't need to have a whole sort of morning ritual around creating. You can start simply with a piece of paper and a pen, and then add materials as you go. It's important that you just start, because we will use the strangest reasons and excuses to not get going. We will say, "Oh, well, I don't have the right journal. I don't have my pen just the way I like it. I don't have any paints. I don't have any crayons. I don't have any markers. Um, I don't have the right things. And until I get all those things set up, and I don't have really a place in the house where I can do this, dedicated studio or an extra room, I just don't have that set up. So I'll just wait until I get that all perfectly in place, and then I'll do it." Well, I will tell you, that day will never come, because there is no perfect scenario. And you will continue to just up level your reasons why you can't quite get started yet, because that's just the way the human brain works. So start with the back of an envelope, an old bill envelope that you have ripped open, and you were just about to throw away in the trash. Um, just start with a scrap piece of paper, anything that you have handy, and a pen or a pencil. That is enough to get started with. Then, if you want to become more sophisticated in the kinds of materials that you use, you can absolutely do that. Um, and if you want to get a person who is a friend of yours to do an accountability exercise with you, where you work together at the same time every morning, that is incredibly helpful. but you can certainly do this very successfully on your own. You can do this anywhere on your kitchen table. You can do this at your desk. You can do this on your bed, in a chair, wherever. So I want to just encourage you to release the notion that certain things have to be in place in order for you to be successful doing this, as well as the notion that the thing that you make is what is important because it's irrelevant. That also goes against the grain of everything that we're taught and everything that we believe about art and making something. So, the good news is, the relief is that what you make does not have to be realistic, doesn't have to be quote unquote good, doesn't have to even make sense. It's only this practice of moving your hands and letting yourself connect and light up with certain parts of your creative centers of your brain that don't get enough time to come out and play, to have this opportunity to dedicate this time and then just close up your journal or step away from your desk and then move on with the rest of your day. The magic is something that happens every single time that you sit down and engage with this part of yourself. And it also is something that will accumulate and accrue and have compound benefits the more frequently you do this and the longer you continue to do it. You will notice things like, I seem to have a better access to my intuition, or I seem to have better ideas, or I seem to sort of have a day that flows better every time I sit down and do this. How can that even be possible? And it is something that is equal parts mystery and magic and also science. And so I encourage you to try it for yourself. And if you're wondering, okay, so what are some things that I can do if I don't have a background in art or I don't consider myself an artist? And the vast majority of us fall into that category. You can draw, you can doodle, you can sketch, you can paint, you can do collage, you can cut things out of a magazine, you can um, do a quick blind contour drawing, which is to just stare at something that's on your desk or nearby and then not look at your paper while you draw it, which will throw you into an OCD tizzy. But it's really powerful and fun to do, and also very meditative to do. You can draw all kinds of different shapes. You can do spirals. You can play around with all kinds of different mark making with all kinds of different tools. Anything from a marker to a pencil to a piece of charcoal to a crayon will work. Absolutely, the sky is the limit. If you get going and you find that you want to have more sort of structured guidance on some of the things that you can do with your daily creative practice, please pick up a copy of my book and you will see that there are exercises in there that are things that you can add into your schedule easily. You can take just a few minutes and do the guided journaling exercises that I have in the book, and you're off and running. Again, do not focus on, oh, I don't think I like it, or oh, I don't think it's any good, because what you're going to notice is what artist and author Linda Berry talks about, which is when you are enjoying this moment of a creative practice, something is coming from your brain down your arm through your hand onto the paper. And importantly, something is coming from your hand up your arm and into your brain. So it is two directional. And we believe that, oh, play and creativity and all this art stuff is irrelevant. It's not for hard charging entrepreneurs. It's for people who are retired or children or people who have time to kill. It has nothing to do with my work as a leader or my work as an author or my work as a business owner. Um, it absolutely does. And I can tell you, I have tried the hard way. I have sort of clung to working against the grain of myself, believing that if I could just work harder, I would somehow surface more success. And if I had more discipline, then I would find more success and freedom, that I would achieve my goals more readily. And not only does that make a person miserable and unhealthy, it does not work. I mean, you can haul your body through 3D space and time and exhaust yourself and effort your way to success. No question that that's doable. At what cost, though? Certainly, it's not a joyful, healthy, wonderful way to live. Um, and I know, again, that hearing someone say that you can play your way to success and freedom through tapping into your creativity sounds completely magical and unrealistic. I just would suggest that you give it a try and start to see how it works on you, works on your thought processes, works on your ability to connect with yourself, which enables you to connect with your market, your ability to come up with big ideas, your ability to see the connections among the ideas that you have so that you can um, attract and formulate new ways of creating things that appeal to the clients that you most want to serve. And along with it comes what Carolyn Miss talks about, which is when you're tapping into your intuition, you're tapping into something that gives you this packet of courage. And this packet of courage sort of propels you forward. We're not as sort of clinging to this world of safety and fear. We're much more willing to get out there and do the things that are calling to our hearts. And maybe the thing that's calling to you is a trip that's similar to what I just did, but you're afraid, maybe traveling alone is too scary for you, or the idea of trying to put some kind of a trip like that together is intimidating, or maybe launching some kind of new creative project is scary, or a new kind of aspect to your business, or writing a book, or creating a signature speech, whatever it is for you. I can tell you that when you connect with your creativity through a daily practice, and I'm going to go into a second piece of the puzzle, which is so important, the piece that I really learned in Europe, that is this practice will help you get through this world of uncertainty and tolerate the unknown so that you go for what it is that is calling to your heart. The other part of the puzzle is that sometimes we just don't know what it is that we crave. We have inklings, but we've buried it for so long that we've kind of forgotten what we love. We've kind of forgotten what brings us alive. This practice will bring that back to you, and it will remind you of what it is that you really, really love. So let's talk about the second part of the process. The second piece is having a weekly practice, and that is a longer session where you can do a deep, deep dive, and having that time that's sort of set and scheduled. So I did this because I was away. It was easier for me to actually look at my calendar and schedule an hour and a half or an hour every single week where I was doing a very deep dive in either doing a collage or doing a long sketch or doing some painting, whatever it was. But I was really allowing myself to fully sort of just surrender into this time. So I had the daily practice, this short 10, 15-minute opportunity to do something every single day that just sort of jump started my brain, jump started my soul. And then I added in the longer session that was just weekly. What I noticed after a couple of weeks of doing this was that I was putting all of my creativity and all of my ideation and all of my connection to my intuition into kind of hyper space. It was a whole new level of connection that I had not experienced before because I was doing either one or the other. I never had actually done them together for an extended period of time. And I was like, oh, okay, this is really fascinating. And I was noticing the parallels to what I was experiencing as a traveler to what I was experiencing as a person who was engaged in both a daily and weekly creative practice. So, what I recommend that you do, because human nature being what it is, we will not quote unquote get around to doing this. And I know how hard this is. So, the only way that it has worked for me is for me to literally schedule it just like I schedule everything else. And then understand going in that one's tendency to override that appointment with ourselves is pretty powerful. In other words, we can see it coming up in the book and go, I'll just skip that this week. And then you don't get the benefits. Then you just sort of are running at about 50% of what your benefits could potentially be. So if you put it in your book and you schedule it or put it in your digital calendar, just protect that time. And like the materials for the daily shorter sessions, you don't have to have sophisticated tools, you don't have to have all kinds of talent. So you can just show up at the page and do your work for about an hour, and then that's it. So I've had a lot of people ask me for a way to have a creative practice in community so that you have the support and the accountability and you're able to make this a habit for yourself. So I have created something that is called the Buoyant Art Studio. And we're going to get started on Friday, June 30th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And we get together every Friday via Zoom. And we're going to have an opportunity to do this weekly, longer creative practice together. That way, we tend to show up, we tend to be consistent. It's a heck of a lot of fun because you're going to be meeting new people and you're going to be in a community of like minded individuals. It's a great way to learn about what other people are up to in their work, as well as share your own and network and develop new relationships and friendships. And this is a highly curated group of people who I can assure you that you will love and that you will benefit from their support and their feedback and their friendship. So it is a 6-month investment of time and focus. And I purposely created it to be 6 months because I really want this to take root into your life. If it were just a few weeks or a couple of months, our ability to go back to our old ways of doing things can be pretty strong, pretty powerful. So I really want this to become a part of how you live and how you work. So for 6 months, we will get together. I will begin our session with an art prompt. You can then interpret that how you wish and use the materials that you like. I will also be able to provide you with a list of suggested materials to spur your ideas if you would like that, but you're by no means required to use certain materials. You can use whatever you want. And we'll also do at the midpoint of the sessions. So we're going to get together for an hour and a half once a week. At the midpoint, I'm going to do some laser coaching. So if you are an entrepreneur and or creator and you're stuck somewhere and you want some help, I will be opening things up for questions and do some laser coaching right there on the spot. And then we'll get back to our creative project, whatever that is. And speaking of creative projects, if you have a creative project that you want to work on and you want to just do that and not the other art prompt work that I give you, you are welcome to do that. I have people who are going to be doing that very thing, either working on a book or working on another project. So, whatever it is that you're seeking to bring out of yourself and create, whether it's something new or create a new connection to your intuition and to your ideation and to your imagination, to a new sense of purpose, to a new sense of courage and more clarity in your thinking and your ability to magnetize yourself to your market, reach your ideal clients, do the work that you're so passionate about doing, and reaching those who you most want to reach. This combination of a daily practice and a weekly practice is truly liberation on steroids and is so much fun and brings an entirely new sort of lightness of being to everything in your life. So I'd love for you to join us. If you're interested, you can certainly message me on Facebook or you can email me at Susie@innovationcompass.com. And that is SUSIE at innovationcompass.com. Or if you're familiar with how PayPal works and you want to just go ahead and send your payment, I will see that notification come through and I will then send you the welcome packet via email. The fee for the entire 6-month experience is $600. And my PayPal email address, if you want to send it directly through PayPal, is the same. It's Susie@innovationcompass.com. But if you have questions, certainly reach out through email or direct messaging. Or if you're not quite sure how PayPal works, I'm happy to help you with that. But again, we're going to get started on Friday. You do not have to have any materials other than just a piece of paper and a pen for Friday, because I want everybody to get together first, and then I'm going to explain materials, because that's always kind of a source of stress for people. And I completely understand that, because that's the way my mind works as well. So we're not going to get into big material use this first gathering, and we'll do that the subsequent Friday. So this week we will meet each other, introduce ourselves. I will explain how this practice is going to work. We'll go over materials, answer questions, and then you will have a fun thing to do while we're in the Buoyant Art Studio together. And then we'll do some laser coaching and play some more, and then we'll break until the following week. So I want to check right now in the chat to see if there are any questions that you have about how the Buoyant Art Studio works. Any questions about how to go about establishing a daily practice, whether, if you want to do this on your own and you want some pointers on how to do that, or if you want to do a weekly practice on your own and you would like some pointers on how to do it on your own. If you're not interested in joining the group, that's perfectly fine. I'm interested in you all giving this a try and seeing how this has a very interesting domino effect on your entire life, your work, your family, your relationships, how you feel yourself, your health. By the way, here's another very interesting thing that I discovered while I was doing this combination of the daily and the weekly practice. Things that I have had a struggle with changing. So, for instance, establishing new habits that I really wanted to establish, as well as releasing old habits that no longer fit me or suit me. This combination, and I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I can just tell you that it works. So, if there is something that you have wanted to change in your life or in your business, and you have been frustrated with 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, or you want to get something new started and rolling and have momentum, this combination is just so interestingly, beautifully, insidiously powerful in helping our brain and set these new neural pathways and help us adopt new practices in lots of areas. So it could be that once the brain sees one kind of practice being established, it's easier for new practices with that regularity begets regularity, or that um, routine begets other new routines. But I don't quite understand how it is that we can more easily release the habits that don't serve us. That's a mystery to me, but I can tell you it is something that happens. And so I encourage you to give this a try. And I would love to hear how you get along with this and what you're seeing as changes in your own life and in your own business. Donna is saying it seriously works. She has got to brag on Donna. She has created something called the 50 over 50 group. And I have seen some really interesting, she's always been enormously creative, incredibly brilliant, and a hell of a lot of fun. And what's interesting to see how she has been putting all kinds of new pieces together. Lots of disparate ideas now are finding home in her business, and she is really exploring new territory. Clara says, I don't have any questions at the moment. Excited to be here. Thank you for being here, Clara. Thank you so much. If anyone has questions beyond the end of this live broadcast, please reach out to Susie at innovationcompass.com. Even if you are not quite ready to create this daily practice or this weekly practice, and you just want to get some ideas for maybe how to get unstuck in your business or in your personal life, I do 30-minute free consultation sessions, and I'd be happy, delighted to schedule one with you as well. So feel free to reach out on any fronts. Keep me posted on your success. I'm going to check the chat one more time. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And if I happen to miss that today, thank you, Donna. I will look forward to getting an email from you or a direct message on Facebook. So I want to close with one thing that I saw. This, I think Tim Ferriss, I think, put this on Twitter the other day, and it's a quote from Alan Cohen, and I just love it. He says, quote, "Don't postpone joy until you have learned all of your lessons. Joy is the lesson." And I could not agree more. And again, it's easy for us to poo-poo play and joy and fun and creativity and making things. because we're taught that that's just misery is the path and that suffering is the path, and it does not have to be that way. I can tell you it is much more fun and much more filled with a life of joy and freedom and success to play your way there and to not put off and postpone joy, to remember what it is that brings you alive and do more of that. And I can close with just encouraging you one more time to create a daily practice, marry it with a weekly practice, and let's just see what you can create everywhere. So thank you all. Thank you all for being here. I wish you all the success in the world. If you have questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you in any way I can. Take good care. Bye.